In 2019, I decided to buy French tax online. From that point, I only focused on working with non-French people.
You're not just a chartered accountant, are you, Geraud?
Well, I guess you're speaking about the fact that I'm an accredited tax representative, right?
One of
10 in France, actually, yeah.
You know, you've got the book and you know the rules,
Yeah.
but you're also doing it.
That's the thing with the French tax law. It's not that precise. I'm getting a salary from the US, and I've heard that it was not taxable in France. And no, this is not true. It's not like, you know, an idea or I think. No, we've got rules. It's very simple.
And that's one of the things that I always sort of campaign for, is finding this quality information, relaying it to clients without scaring them.
We have to be there for the clients, because this is something which is very frightening for people, especially Americans, because I feel like IRS is frightening people, right?
So hi guys, and welcome to our podcast series. We mentioned partners and key things to consider before moving, but whilst you're actually in France. And of course, the first one for me is taxes. I came across Geraud actually many years ago, and I've watched them evolve on YouTube, and that just aligned with me. You could see through the videos that the guy really cared about giving quality information to his audience. And of course, that led us to naturally work together because it's just such a good osmosis. So without wanting to delay it anymore, let's introduce Geraud. Hi, Geraud. Welcome to the channel.
Richard. Thank you very much.
And do you want to start maybe, Geraud, by letting us know how you came into this segment?
Sure. Well, unlike Richard, I'm French, and actually my friends call me François le Français because I'm very French. So I didn't have the chance to study abroad or anything else. I was just right and born in the south of France. And I'm a chartered accountant, and I started my little accountancy practice in France with 0 clients. And my best friend Alex was working in London, and he started to send me 1 British client, 2 British clients, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And very quickly I was like, okay, well, I really like working with these people. They are less grumpy than the French, you know. So, and I really like speaking English. So it was a very good way for me to improve my English, actually, thanks to the clients. So making money and learning a new language, like making it very good. So very quickly, I would say within a year or so, I decided to stop working with the French, pretty much, and only working with foreigners. And in 2019, I decided to buy French tax online, one of the biggest company I have at the moment. And from that point, I only focused on working with non-French people and foreigners.
Awesome. I think what drew me to what you were doing, and that as I mentioned to you, I've been following you for many years, is that this true thing about video and the ability that and the power that it has, and the kind of personality that you can see through video, which you can't really fake, right? Yeah. It's like we're not actors, we're genuinely doing this because we care. And so it was wonderful when I was able to connect with you, because, you know, I just saw that the vision line, the way that you treat your staff. You know, the first thing you said to me, look, I pay my staff very well. We look after people that work with us, and it's all kind of focused on this English-speaking world. Yeah. And that knowledge, the quality of knowledge, because you're not just a chartered accountant, are you, Geraud?
Well, I guess you're speaking about the fact that I'm an accredited tax representative, right?
Yeah, well, you're pretty proud of that, right? It's one of
10 in France, actually. Yeah, it's been quite a big struggle to get it, because I had to wait 20 months. And it was a very big file with the French tax office, as you can guess. But yeah, we are the very last French accredited company as a tax representative. So we are now fully allowed to work on capital gain tax calculation for non-EU tax residents selling in France. So it's a bit of a niche, I agree, yeah. But it's my niche, and it definitely helps our clients as well.
And we were talking about it yesterday evening, and it's just this idea that actually doing an awful lot the same thing, which is a niche that then becomes something that you become specialist at, then is super reassuring for people. And that's one of the things that I always sort of campaign for, is finding this quality information, relaying it to clients without scaring them, because so many people try to scare, or it seems like, you're trying to scare people into either making a decision, or say that this is just not going to work for you, or you've got to use our services, otherwise it won't work. And I think the first thing I noticed from what you're trying to give online was, okay, this is actually the real deal. This is the information. You can do what you want with it.
Yeah.
And I guess also because we're in a niche, we're in this position where there's an awful lot of grey areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Between taxes. Do you want to tell us more about the things that maybe people would?
Well, that's the thing with the French tax law. It's not that precise, actually. And I would say that we've got many questions that people ask us because they are worried about. And because I'm very transparent and I don't like to lie to people, of course, I cannot give a proper answer, which is quite frustrating for the people. For example, I had a question from a client of yours, actually, yesterday or the day before. Geraud, I'm getting a salary from the US, and I've heard that it was not taxable in France. And no, this is not true. Why is that? Because there is a gray area. Actually, the France-US double taxation treaty says that a US salary is taxable in France if the person is a tax resident of France, or in the US if the work is provided from the US. But that's the big question because of remote work. Is work provided from the place you live in or from the place the company is located, right? Because does just having a laptop means everything is located for France or not? The thing is, it's impossible to answer properly because the double taxation treaty was written at a time where remote working was not, as developed as it is now. So with this, we've got questions about tax residency quite a lot. Lots of people are like, okay, but I just spent 3 months, I'm not a tax resident. No, that's not that simple. On the other hand, some people do not spend that much time in France and they are tax resident. So these are, and I could give you quite a lot of examples, but yes, we have lots of gray areas. And I think what people like with us is that we are always very transparent, and we don't like, I try to make things understandable, but on the other hand, I don't try to push people in a specific case where it's not possible. So I like to give options to my clients, and in the end, they have to choose because I'm not in their place, I'm not in their shoes, and they have to be the ones understanding the situation and making a decision with a proper knowledge about the tax consequences that might happen at some point.
Yeah, and I think there's something that aligns, of course, we mentioned with the way that we look after the people that work with us, the way that you want to produce your content and all of the things that go with the YouTube channel, etc., that you've grown, and just the information that you want to provide people. But equally, I feel that there's this kind of synergy between what we do and how we look after clients as just a general aspect. But I think Geraud's been very humble. You've actually grown a multi-million euro business just in terms of, and I know he's French, so we don't talk about money, but I think it's very important for me because for me, you being very successful in your field is what drew us, well, what also drew me to you guys. Like I was like, wow, this is great. You've got this same format. You're the face of the business. You're creating content exactly the same as me. It's actually, people that work with me that are delivering it. And, we happen to like sports cars and things like that. So we do get on quite well, right? But the point being is that I think it's actually, for me, I'm inspired by how you've grown that business, which isn't, let's face it, the sexiest of topics.
No, not really.
I know that you might like to think it is, but people are scared, and eventually I think scared of not doing the right thing. And that's what you're saying, right? Is that's what people want, that just support and help. And how do you deliver that? So do you want to tell us how you've set that up. You work from an office every day.
Yeah, well, actually, I like to see my people, so I don't really like remote working, to be fair. So almost everyone is working in the office with me.
Where's the office?
The office is based in the only place in France where we don't have English-speaking people, Marseille. Okay. So yeah, I've been quite wise in my location, I know. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a quite big office in Marseille, so almost everyone is working in the office 5 days a week, 9 to 5, 8 to 8 for me. And you know, I really like it because when I see the people, I can solve problems very quickly, you know. And I like to have, you know, lunch with my team, you know, just discussing, having coffee. Okay, girls, because the French Tax Online, we have mostly girls, to be fair. So, you know, I'm always coming in. Okay, girls, how is it going? Do we have problems? You know, that's the thing. So, yeah, actually, this is a proper company. We're not like a startup with lots of fancy stuff, because this is taxes, this is accounting, this is a serious business. And we have to be there for the clients, because this is something which is very frightening for people, especially Americans, because I feel like RS is frightening people, right? More than the French.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a team of 12 people. We've got French, we've got Dutch people, we've got Bulgarian, we've got Australian. You know, so pretty much everyone does speak English, of course. Lots of us do speak very good English, because we have to speak to the client. We have to talk to them on the phone. We try to do everything online, okay, of course, because nobody's coming to the office. Because again, there is nobody in Marseille speaking English. We have no client around, I would say. You know, it's a regular business. Everything is done online. We try to make the process as smooth as possible. And we try to answer within 24 to 48 hours maximum, so that there is not too much stress involved.
And so aligned to what we do. One of the things that I think also drew us together is this need to integrate our both businesses, because, of course, you know, it was a synergy straight from the off. That's like we work together. Your sister actually also helps us and works with Juliet and the team searching for properties. We chat probably more than anything else every day, probably more than with our partners.
I talk to you more than to my wife.
Yeah, probably. The same here, because we've got so much to exchange on, and so much of what we do is intertwined, right? Any client of mine will need your assistance. And equally, you know, we offer things that others just stop at. So going into those kind of ideas, Brexit, what happened there? You know, like, so what have you noticed more since Brexit happened, and have there been any consequences? The new UK government change, is there anything to know?
To be fair, Brexit didn't have such a big consequence tax-wise. I believe it was more about visas, which is your part.
Yeah.
But tax-wise, you know, it doesn't change much for us. Because there might have a consequence about capital gain tax, but in the end, it was very quickly corrected. It was about social charges taxation, but it's all good. You guys, I mean British people, can benefit from a 7.5% instead of a 17.2% rate, which, you know, was a bit of a big deal. Because everyone was scared that because of Brexit, the 17.2 would apply. In the end, there was an agreement between France and the UK, and British people can still benefit from this. But to be fair, for us, it doesn't change much, because the tax treaty is the same, and we work the same way. So it didn't change much for us. I believe it was more for you guys, because it's this visa thing, which is a big issue.
What really launched us into specialising in that in a company and legal firms.
I have something actually. Well, because now that you mention it, British people do need a tax representative for the sale of their property, which is why I started this business.
But if they're not residents, that's
exactly. Yeah. If they are British tax residents, indeed.
So I think but the general part there is also for us. I think when it comes to taxes, it is such a big thing before the visa for many Americans. And clearly, Trump, let's talk about it because it's a big thing. Yeah. People are, of course, I feel that people have made their decision quicker than before. Yeah. So we help around 5 Americans every week move to France. When I first contacted Geraud and said to him, look, do you fancy working together? I've been watching you on YouTube for a long time. I think we could align. We booked a call and it was like, well, this is great. This is amazing. Let's work with one another. But when I told you, look, I've got about 80 tax returns to do this year, and it's like, wow, suddenly you've got somebody that's bringing you so many, because I just knew that this was something that people needed. And we work with several French tax specialists in the past, because my belief was always let's have somebody French look after the French law and regulations. But of course, clearly now working together and having so many Americans that need help and doing consultations with you before they move. Yeah. What is this kind of idea? What's happened since Trump, and what has anything changed?
Yeah, again, I'd say that we have more and more contact from American people willing to move to France, just like you actually, because we have the same client. It's just that you're supposed to have them before us, because you're the very first point of contact in France for France. Whereas in my case, we've got people who are in France already, or we've got the same clients and they contacted us because they have questions. They are like, okay, Geraud, we want to move to France, but I'm very scared of the taxes because I heard that I'm going to pay 80% of my income. So really, what is going to happen? And this is our job to do the calculation, because that's what I really like about taxes and accounting and everything. It's not like, an idea or I think. No, we've got rules. It's very simple. Okay, what's your situation? How much you're making? Okay, this. Then you're going to end up paying this. And this is 100% sure. Yeah. There is no room for uncertainty. Of course, law can change. But most of the time, I can give people a very clear answer. Yeah. And this is what people are looking for. Because, of course, before doing 10,000 kilometers away from your home, you want to know à quelle sauce tu vas être mangé, as we say in French. So you want to know how much you're going to pay, especially for American people who might not be used to pay lots of taxes, depending on the state, right?
Sure.
Good news is, no worries, guys. The France-US tax treaty is very beneficial to the US. And most of the income would remain taxable in the US in the end. Not the salary, as you heard, might be taxable in France, depending on the situation, but dividend, interest, trust payment, etc., these remain taxable in the US if you are a US citizen.
And of course, as a combined service now, it's worth mentioning to your viewers, we work as a completely joint business. In context, all of our staff members are interconnected. We basically, well, for compliancy, of course, you're separate because that's it's a highly regulated profession. But we work as one. We'll be producing more content like this, and getting Geraud more and more involved on the channel. And also we'll send Lizzie over to do a presentation of the office in Marseille. But generally speaking, I think, maybe to finish on this as well, Geraud, one of the things that, again, I mention is the success of your business and your other businesses in real estate, in finance. People don't really talk about this much, I guess, in France, because we talk, but I think it's so important for me. One of the things that drives me towards you as an individual is because you have worked hard and you work very hard to produce a quality service and to capitalize on that, to maximize your income, of course, outside of your chartered accountants businesses, and investing in property. We have loads of exciting projects with property involved for you guys needing visas, etc. But I think that's the key thing. You've got the book and the rules, but you're also doing it. And I think that's what people enjoy when they work with me, is that, well, I've gone through the hard parts, the difficulties, having to open, close businesses, understand the taxes when I didn't have a chartered accountant as good as Geraud. So I think it's just such a good thing for you guys that are looking to move, to have somebody and the combined service that's so aligned, and the way that you operate that, so smoothly with us. So yeah, looking forward to doing more of these, and you can get around to all of your boring accountant stuff soon. So Geraud, thanks so much for coming in today and flying all the way from Marseille to come and see me. And just generally speaking, maybe finishing for our audience, letting us know, of course, you can find Geraud through us, but you can also visit your website. You've got a YouTube channel.
Yeah, indeed. I've got a very exciting YouTube channel, which is called French Tax Online, just like the business. So we've got the website and the YouTube channel. I'm trying to do 2 videos a month about very passionate topics. For example, opening a sheet, how to manage the capital gain tax of this or that. So very nice topics. And we've got lots of tools as well on our website, simulators, calculators, etc., etc. So yeah, you can reach out to us on the website, on the YouTube, any other channel, no problem at all. We're always glad to help.
Awesome. And we'll be producing more stuff like this.
Absolutely.
Joint websites, videos.
A vlog.
We'll try and make it a little bit sexier, guys, promise. Thank you again for watching, and see you soon on the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys.